Now the topic is Model Village Clustered. The Model Village Cluster is the scheme proposed by the central government of India during 2016. The main objective is to transform the rural areas to urban areas. The word urban is very relevant. The urban comes from the two words. Rural, first part comes from the rural and second half comes from the urban. So it's a combination of rural and urban. Basically, model village cluster is the concept when within the rural domain, within the clean and green rural environment, slowly and very gradually develop the urban facilities in, intact or without hampering the rural greenery and rural ecological and aesthetic quality. This is the basic theme of model village cluster. Basically, it will create a urban environment that is based on clean and green rural ecology or rural environment with all infrastructural facilities of urban areas. Like that, suppose this is the green and clean rural areas and these rural areas slowly transform to the urbanized facilities, slowly progress to have the urban facilities with urban infrastructure in spite of its rural ecology and clean and green environment. 21st century is commonly known as the era of urbanization, and a bulk of migration from village to urban areas is very common in Indian scenario. In spite of that, 68% Indians are living in rural India. In such circumstances, merged cities of India that was a scheme started in 2014 to maintain the parity of overall urban development and to spade the infrastructural facilities. And what about the future of rural development? Then the concept of village cluster comes in reality. The concept of village cluster is a tool for the rural development. The basic objective of model village cluster is to create the central town with all urban facilities within the rural environment. For that purpose, a few villages, here the number is fixed, that is 100 villages are selected to create a model village. Rather, here the model village is a groups of village, a clustering of village. Here the number of village are fixed, that is 100. The basic philosophy of model village is not the new one. Indian has a long inheritance about the model village clustered thinking, rather thinking of rural development. For that particular purpose, Gandhian dream about the ideal village and the concept of community and rural development of Rabindranath Tagore is most remarkable and basic principle of a model village cluster derived from the concept of Gandhian dreams of rural development and also the community development concept of Rabindranath Tagore. Moreover, the basic purpose of interior planning is to implement the planning from the grassroots level, to implement the planning in the village level. From that point of view, the philosophy and the thinking of ideal village or model village is not the new concept. Basically, Gandhian philosophy and Gandhian concept of rural development, that is model village cluster, that concept have already he has implemented in the Sevagram village near the Wardha in Maharashtra. Basically, according to the Gandhian principle, the model village cluster or the ideal rural development depend on the three pillar, that is rural administration, home economy and the Sharbodaya, welfare for the all. This is the basic philosophy behind the Gandhian concept of rural development, and this philosophy also followed in the cases of India government proposed that plan in 2016, that is the model village clustered. And for ideal village, Gandhiji proposed or 18-point constructive program for the rural development or to create ideal village or model village. And these 18 principles are very much relevant in today in the discussion of model village cluster, and those are very similar to the concept of Millennium Development Goal. So Indian has a long heritage of the concept of model village clustered, and that concept started by the Gandhiji and Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, in his famous essay Swadeshi Samaj and Polli Unnayan, he he was very constructive about the rural development village cluster concept, and he also experimentally implemented that concept in Sriniketan in 1921. Therefore, before independence, our two pillars, Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore, already established the concept and also implemented the model village in reality. And the Sevagram near the Wardha in Maharashtra and the Sriniketan in Bolpur, Birbhum district of West Bengal by the Rabindranath Tagore already established model village before the independence. So Indian has a long inheritance of village development and concept of village cluster. Very recently, the concept of cluster village as a planning tool is formulated by the Denmark government, and purpose is to create smart villages within the clean and green environment. And now government of India just 2016 proposed this scheme for the model village for the smart and clean villages. The scheme of model village cluster. After 2016, two villages should be selected, and after 2019, each member of the parliament in his or her area must establish at least 5 model villages. And for this purpose, 100 villages are selected. 100 villages from each blocks or tahsil has been selected. A central town with a population of 50,000 will be created with urban facilities. Let's have a look. Suppose this is an village, this is a village area, this is a village area. Suppose those are the 100 village, and those 100 village are basically clean and green in nature and very pure and very aesthetic from the environmental point of view, and those villages selected to convert in a smart village or convert into the model village cluster, and in a central town has been established with the population of 50,000 and with all urban facilities. This is the basic concept of village cluster. Here, 100 villages are selected for the rural development as a clustered village. Those are the 100 villages. Suppose those green areas are the areas of 100 villages, and for the development purpose, those 100 villages are selected, and on the basis of 100 villages, a single urban center, that is the central town, will develop in center with the population of 50,000. This is a nuclei, and this nuclei will provide the infrastructural and economic and urban facilities to the 100 villages areas, those areas surrounded by the central town. And this whole thing, the whole theme, the whole concept, the concept of a nuclei, that is the central town that will provide the urban facilities, and to the green 100 villages. That total concept is known as the model village cluster. This model is the nucleus, is the model, and those 100 village is the zone of clustering of villages. Basically, this scheme initiated by the Government of India in 2016. Each member of the parliament from his or her area must establish at least 5 villages for 5 years. In this approach, 400 village from each tahsil has been selected as a central urban town with a population of 50,000 will be created as a urban facilities. There are 5 important pillars for the village cluster. First one is the smart infrastructure. Second one is the smart institution. Third, smart services, smart technology, and ultimate objective is the smart villages. And to create, what is the purpose of what is the basic purpose to create clustered village? To create higher educational and higher technical academics system in rural environment, to create more healthcare and sanitation facilities in rural environment, and ultimate goal is economic growth of public and private sector. Basic area, basic zone, or the basic geographical area for that village cluster, solely the Gram Panchayat elaka. Gram Panchayat would be the basic unit, primary unit for the development of village rural model village cluster. It will have a population of 3,000 to 5,000 in a plain area, and in the cases of hilly areas, population will be 1,000 to 3,000. And that population ratio remains same in the cases of tribal and any difficult or hindrance areas. In the district where the size unit is not available, the Gram Panchayat approximating the desirable population may be chosen. But basically, Gram Panchayat have an option to select the 100 villages area according to their own population size and own desire, and they can apply their own method to choose the villages. Here are the attributes of smart village, smart institution, smart technology, smart service, smart infrastructure, smart mass participation, and ultimately we will reach the concept of smart village, and that is the perfect, that will be the implementation of Gandhian dreams of rural development. Basically, it's the concept of smart villages. It's a transitional from rural to urban within the rural ecological environment to create urban infrastructure. And target to achieve this objective is within 2050. 2050. Government of India proposed several schemes to achieve model cluster village. Basically, those schemes are the footprint to achieve the target of model cluster village. First one is the National Rural Drinking Water Program in 2010. Second one is the Swachh Bharat Clean India Mission in 2019. Third one is the National Rural Livelihood Mission 2011. Fourth one is the Swachh Gram Abhiyan. It's basically for the solid and liquid waste management in rural areas. Then NSAP, National Social Assistance Program. It is basically for the elderly people. And next is National Rurban Mission, Rural Community Life. Seventh one is the Shama Prasad Mukherjee Rurban Mission. And then Gram Samriddhi, it is proposed by the Niti Aayog. And ninth is the DIKSHA portal. It is for education for all. and Grameen Swachh Bharat mission basically for provides toilet facilities to all. And ultimate scheme, the main scheme, the focal theme considered as a village development, that is Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. National Rural Drinking Water Program proposed by the Government of India in 2010. The basic objective of this program is to provides the water and provides and supply the fresh water to the rural people. Basically, it is the water security program in the agroclimatic zone, as well as it also the water security program for the drinking purpose in rural areas. Second mission is the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. This Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, proposed by the 2014, its basic objective to create the sanitation and toilet facilities in rural India. Another objective of this mission is to manage the solid waste and the liquid waste in the village areas. Till today, it's a very crucial problem in village areas to solid waste management. National Rural Livelihood Mission, formulated in 2011 with direct investment and support by the World Bank. Basic purpose and objective of this plan or mission is to generate the income of rural household, and it's basically for the economic empowerment of rural areas. Swachh Gram Abhiyan, it's a plan for the central government in 2016. It's also for the solid and liquid waste management in rural areas, and it also maintain the quality of life in rural areas, basically for hygiene and the cleanliness in rural areas, and objective is to development to boost up the health and sanitation condition in the panchayat areas. National Social Assistance Program. It's for basically for the economic benefit and the social pension for the disabled people, even the old people in rural areas. National Urban Mission purpose is to develop the clustered village, and that basic purpose is to preserve the natural quality of the village areas, to maintain the rural community life with focus of the quality of the urban environment, to create urban facilities in rural areas without compromising the aesthetic and natural qualities of the rural India. Next one is Shama Prasad Mukherjee Urban Mission in the state Chhattisgarh, with very prudently and very effectively implement this plan, and the objective of the Shama Prasad Mukherjee Urban, the main objective of that mission is to develop the rural areas by providing economic and social and physical infrastructural facilities. The state Chhattisgarh is doing very well regarding that scheme. The Gram Samriddhi, it's a very effective scheme for the small scale household industries and small scale cottage industry, even small scale food processing industries in rural areas. It's funded by the World Bank as well as approved by the Niti Aayog. The Samriddhi Gram Yojana helps the rural poor to support their livelihood and economy, and it also provides the supports and encourage to build up and to upgrade the technology of existing unit and improve the management units, and it's this scheme provides the technical support to achieve economic empowerment. The DIKSHA portal just started in 2020 during the pandemic session. The aim of the DIKSHA portal is to help the student and teacher in domain of digital learning. It encourages the rural India as well as urban India during the pandemic session to digital and digital literacy. Basically, it's a digital literacy mission of the teachers as well as the student. and it aimed to the student to help to continue their study and even in they are living or staying in the remote rural areas. Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana proposed in 2014 goal to develop the ideal village within 2025. When we are talking about the village cluster, larger parts of rural areas in country are not stand alone as a settlement, but part of a clustered settlement, which are relatively proximate to each other. These clusters typically illustrate the potential economic growth, potential development, and it will create a competitive advantage and will provides a holistic attitude towards the overall to achieve overall growth target to overall socio-economic development. And in the cases of policy, it will more people will benefited by the government policies and government approaches. The cluster once developed, then it will slowly and gradually achieve the concept of Rurban. Let's take an Indian example of village cluster. One possible solution is to build model village clusters similar to what was done in Chitrakoot in Madhya Pradesh. Here, there will be created on a lines of special economic zone with modern facilities of land, labor, transport, education, health within the rural ecological environment, and the small central town will be managed by the rural communities that will be serving along with the representation of urban communities in a new town area within the rural environment. Basically, it's very relevant regarding the Gandhian concept, that is that model village cluster will be governed by the rural administration, mass participation, with the objective of flourishing the rural economy with the urban facilities and with preserving the each and every aesthetic and ecological aspect of rural environment. Model village cluster is basically the concept of smart villages. Uh, it's a Unnato Bharat Abhiyan. It's a flagship program by the Ministry of Human Resource Development of the Government of India. Basic objective is to create the platform and the facilities, rather urban facilities in rural natural environment. For that purpose and for regarding the concept of model cluster village, the famous quotation of Mahatma Gandhi is very relevant. If the village perishes, India will perish too. So, foremost and most important aspect of development, it must started from the smart village or Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. But the concept and the planning of rural development, rather planning for model cluster village, started in 2060. But before that concept, before the implementation, or before the starting of the Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, the urban mission, that is the smart city concept or the smart city policy, has been taken by the government of India. Model village cluster is nothing but a sustainable village, smart village, and it's a combination of ecology, economy, and overall development.